Stay tuned and let's check out the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Juggernaut. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today in front of us we have a massively anticipated Marvel Legend, with massive being the key word. I think this is technically classed as a super deluxe because it is of course the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Juggernaut. Now this whole autumn program has been of course a tribute to the Marvel vs Capcom 2 game that came out in the early 2000s, but for whatever reason Hasbro can't use that Marvel vs Capcom branding, so instead everything has been under their Gamerverse umbrella. But of course we collectors don't mind, as it gives us options. We can either create a new collection or upgrade some of our comic characters in our displays, and this Juggernaut is exactly that, as the character himself has been very sought after on the aftermarket since that very first Build-A-Figure back in 2016, which itself was re-released in a 2-pack with Hulk. However, this isn't just a re-release, this is all new, brand new Juggernaut, which is going to make the other one look like his baby brother. This thing is massive, he's hefty, the box itself is very heavy, so yes, I'm looking forward to getting this one out and comparing it to the previous version. So here he is in the Gamerverse style packaging, with the Juggernaut pixels down there, that Gamerverse logo up top, more Gamerverse on the side. On the back of the box you can see he's built up the Silver Samurai, and we get a write-up that says Kane Marco is the unstoppable Juggernaut, possessing superhuman strength and extreme durability. So as I said, this one is massive. Let's get it open. Here we have the Juggernaut out of the packaging with his 3 accessories, which are a set of hands and also his charged up effect piece, which is taken directly from the game. So we'll take a look at that later. Fisted hands on him out of the packaging with some more expressive hands here. So let me move all that out of the way and get the tape measure out first and foremost. How tall is this new Juggernaut? Well, you can see he's definitely over 9 inches and he's probably reaching about 9.5 inches to the top of his dome, so it's definitely much bigger than any previous version. And to prove that point, let's start straight away here with a comparison to the previous Build-A-Figure from nearly a decade ago. This is 2016, the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure, which was a great Build-A-Figure for its time. Honestly, that was when Legends sort of kicked into a new gear, and yeah, that was great, and it itself got a re-release. But you can see it is the baby brother to this new Juggernaut, as this new one is taller, he's wider, he's thicker, he's stockier, his arms are a little bit longer. But remember, in the game, he always had those long ape-like hands. But like, look how much thicker those arms are compared to his. Even his hands are much bigger. Just, yeah, the broadness of his chest, the stockiness. Yeah, the new one is an absolute upgrade. Let me bring in the second version of Juggernaut, which was in the 2-pack with Hulk. And you can see that sort of matches the aesthetic a little bit more, but you can still see it is much shorter. This one came with a beaten up, so an undomed head, which we're going to try on this one as well, of course we are. But yeah. Let's bring all 3 in again. And here we have all 3 of our Marvel Legend Juggernauts standing together. So you tell me which one is the most imposing. Now, I know the packaging says Gamerverse, but that is just the marketing. You take it out of that box and it can absolutely be a comic version of the Juggernaut. As always with comic characters, depending on the artist, depending on the panel, they're all drawn a little bit differently. Their scales can be changed from comic to comic. So yes, he's bigger, he's stockier, but it can still work as a comic Juggernaut. Massive. There you go, all 3 side to side. Yeah, these 2 previous ones had their own for a good while, don't get me wrong. But this new one's completely pinless in comparison to these 2, with the pins in the knees and in the elbows. And yeah, the new one is just, it's just the better Juggernaut, isn't it? It's just the better one. So let's move those old ones out the way, put them on the side, and let's take a closer look at our brand new Juggernaut. So here we get a glimpse of Kane Marco hiding underneath that dome with a very angry expression, as you would expect, with the blue eyes and the gritted teeth. The dome itself is all brand new. Remember, no reuse here. I like how the dome is flush against the chest, so as you spin it, it doesn't create too many shadows and it looks like it's nice and tight on the body, so you still get your swivel from side to side. The head itself is on a disc and hinge though, rather than a dumbbell. If I spin it to the side, you can see here, you get a little bit of up and down, like a little bit of wiggle room there, and that is because if I take the head off, you can see the disc and hinge will slide all the way down, but of course the helmet will limit that, and then from the top it will just get stuck there as well. So yeah, not as much range as I expected, but again, not a bad thing here. It is the Juggernaut. His head is in a massive dome, and again, you've got a little bit of wiggle room. More importantly, you can swivel it side to side, and the helmet is tight and flush against the body. So yeah, all in all, it's good. But I will try some head swaps very shortly. So before we do the articulation, let's just look at the rest of the body. So the helmet does have some nice texture to it, and it has these bolts sort of sculpted all the way around. The chest does have some nice shadowing in the creases of the body, and then this middle part has a very nice texture to it and like a lighter red as well. And then you've got the dumbbell, of course, at the top of the torso. The legs are just the same brown as the top, and then the red boots sort of match that sort of middle layer, but there is no texture on the boots as such. On the side, you've got the sort of wraps on the arms and the forearms, and then you've got those sort of knuckle dusters on both of the fisted hands as well. And then you've got lots of veins sculpted on these massive thick arms, and you can see the butterfly joints there, forward and back. It's a shame we can't get that on Hulk figures, but yeah, we get a forward and back there. But yeah, nice texture on the chest as well, like I mentioned. If I zoom in, you can see there, very nicely done. But otherwise, it is very streamlined, very simple and stylized, which, as I said, will fit either a Gamerverse display or just your regular comic display. Look at that, 90-degree arms for the articulation there. Very nice. You can literally do the helicopter, but that gives us a better look at the butterfly joints as well. Forward a little bit, and then back obviously a lot more, and you can force that more so it goes back so much. So yeah, more back than forward as we'd expect, but still a decent range there for the butterfly. Move the arms to the side for a second. Both single jointed elbows. Now, of course, they're big, thick elbows, so they sort of barely go to 90, but they are pinless, of course. Aesthetically, they look very nice. And remember, this isn't Spider-Man. He's a big, chunky character. His articulation is going to be limited. And yeah, the aesthetic here is really nice. All the articulation for the upper body is at this ball joint at the torso. So that's where you're going to get your tilt. That's where you're going to get your swivel. And more importantly, let's check out the crunch. So forward, that far, back, that far. So that's your range forward and back. Not bad, but it's all at the ball joint here. That's where you're going to get your movement. It looks like there's a swivel at the waist because of the design, but this is all one lower piece. All the movement for the upper articulation is at this ball joint on the chest area. Going to the legs, there's a bit of gappage there, so the legs can go up pretty far. And there's also a swivel at the thigh. There is no thigh cut as the peg goes into that top portion of the leg, but there is a swivel up there, like a thigh swivel. And the knees are so bloody close to the boots, you basically get a lower leg swivel, because instead of a boot swivel, if you know what I mean, like the boot's there, the knee's there, so you literally get a lower knee swivel with the single jointed knees, which are okay. They're not amazing, but they're okay. Again, pinless, aesthetically they look good. The boot does have very nice ankle pivot and rocker, like you cannot be mad at that. And of course, toe hinges, which some people really like. So there you go. That'll get them into some nice charging and running poses. So yeah, double toe hinge there for your Juggernaut. So of course, really nice articulation for such a chunky character. And you've got the fisted hands out of the packaging, but we also get one grabbing sort of reaching hand, which I don't mind at all, and then you also get one more gripping hand that has a tighter closed fist, and that is hopefully so we can hold some Marvel Legends. So here's a Spider-Man. This is the Maximum Series Spider-Man. I'm just going to literally squeeze his leg in there, and yeah, of course the Juggernaut can hold him up, no problem at all, and just tease Spider-Man. So yeah, this figure is massive, and it's strong enough to hold a Marvel Legend, and I'm literally shaking that, and he's still holding it. So Yeah, very nice. He also comes with this effect piece, which I believe is taken directly from the game. This is Juggernaut's special move where he charges at the opponent and this sort of dome forms around his body like so. And this is done in a nice sort of yellowy, orange sort of gradient, translucent plastic, which does have some sculpted detail on there as well, with these two sort of grips on the inside. Now, on the actual game, he sort of charges at people like sort of helmet first, so the dome would be a lot bigger than we get here. But obviously Juggernaut is massive, so to create an accurate dome that covers the majority of his body, that would have been pretty big. So instead, they've given us this smaller version, which can be used on his hands. Now, when I first got it, I tried to sort of attach it onto the wrists, or the fist, sorry, but it has these braces on. So I was like trying to sort of grip it on, and you can sort of make it work by just getting the grips on the side. However, I then learned that the braces actually are removable. They literally come off. There's two pegs, and there are holes on the actual fist as well. So you remove the braces, and then you actually take this and attach it on like so, and the grip is actually really, really bloody tight. So there you go. Now he has this effect piece on his wrist, attached to his fist for attacking and like pounding people, and that is not going anywhere. So yeah, you have to remove the braces. Is it removable on both hands? It seems like it is. Yeah, you can remove the braces on both hands. So the effect will work on either of them. But remember to remove the braces, the sort of knuckle dusters, and then you can get his charging effect piece, which works very nicely. Let's bring back in the previous Juggernaut. This is the one from the Hulk 2-pack. Now, I mentioned he came with an alternative sort of undomed head of Kane and also like a broken helmet. So let's try these on the new Juggernaut. And you know what? That can sort of work. The head does pop onto the peg, but obviously it gives him completely no neck, which I think is absolutely fine for Juggernaut. And then the helmet obviously was just sort of something you hovered over him and it's sort of all smashed and beaten up. So if you wanted your new Juggernaut to be looked a little bit beaten up in battle, then yes, you can use those previous unhelmet, sort of broken helmet pieces from the 2-pack Juggernaut. And even though the braces are not removable on the previous Juggernaut fisted hands, you can still sort of reuse the effect piece on those old Juggernauts, as you can just sort of friction grip it onto the previous fists, at least make it work for display or pictures. So yeah, it doesn't fit on there perfectly, but you can definitely make it work for a display or poses. And once again, here we have all three of our Marvel Legend Juggernauts. Build-A-Figure, Hulk 2-pack, and brand new Gamerverse. And yes, the Gamerverse one is obviously the best Juggernaut, and so it should be, released 10 years after the first. But the first one did hold its own for a good while, so credit to him. But yes, the new Juggernaut is absolutely an upgrade. So if you are a fan of this character, I would seek out this bigger, beefier version of Juggernaut. He's just more intimidating on your display. So let's try him compared to some regular Marvel Legends. Here we have the last Gamerverse 2-pack that I have reviewed on the channel. We have Omega Red and War Machine. Go and check out that review right now. Here we have another 2-pack. This one is the Thanos and Psylocke 2-pack. And remember, all of these characters can absolutely be upgrades in your comic display. It's your display, you create the rules. Unfortunately, I no longer have in my possession the other Gamerverse 2-packs with Captain America and Venom and Wolverine and Silver Samurai. So here we have the next best thing with the 20th anniversary Captain America and the X-Men 97 Wolverine. And although I think the 2-pack Gamerverse versions will pair with this Juggernaut better, this gives you a good example of how this Juggernaut could fit in just your comic displays in general. Even at this bigger, chunkier, heavier scale, it absolutely works. It's the Juggernaut. And then here we have some comic Marvel Legends that could work in your Capcom displays if that's the direction you're going. We have Cable from the Zabu Build-A-Figure wave, and then we have Marrow from the Nemesis Build-A-Figure wave, who I have recently opened, and she is a very nice Marvel Legend, by the way. Here we have a couple of comic characters that have a connection to Juggernaut in the comics. It is, of course, Charles Xavier, his own brother, and that's the reason he wears that big dome on his head, so Charles can't penetrate his mind. And then we have his best friend, Black Tom Cassidy. And here we have his previous 2-pack companion. It is, of course, Colossus, who is rumoured to be in a new 2-pack with Kitty Pryde. It's meant to be like an astonishing X-Men sort of upgrade. So fingers crossed for that. But this is still an absolute solid Colossus for your collection. We could do with the pinless treatment, but otherwise probably the best that we currently have. And he still scales pretty well, even next to this Juggernaut. And here we have the not-so-maximum Hulk next to our absolutely maximum Juggernaut. It's crazy, isn't it, how if this Juggernaut was branded as maximum, nobody would have batted an eyelid. It is absolutely massive. However, if this had just been a deluxe sort of re-release of Hulk and they were trying something different, no one would have minded. But because they branded it maximum, we expected something like this. So, yeah, perception and all that. But there we go. Juggernaut's clearly much bigger. Another previous builder figure that is rumoured to get the deluxe retro card treatment, but time will tell. Here we have Onslaught. And of course we're about to get a maximum Deadpool, but until then, here we have the 2-pack version of Deadpool and then the maximum Spider-Man. And for a female Marvel legend, here we have Black Widow, and then another character you can sort of fudge into a Capcom display for now. Here we have Doctor Doom. And as always, let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. We've got Tigra and Frogman, and where's Jeff? Oh, there he is. And then last but absolutely never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hell Fire Hank. Final thoughts on this Marvel Legends, Don't Say Capcom, Gamerverse, Super Deluxe, Juggernaut. Honestly, in hand, this is really nice. A massive upgrade to that 10-year-old builder figure that we salute, by the way. That held its own for a good while, but this is absolutely a worthy upgrade for the character. It's bigger, it's heavier, it's thicker, it's wider, it's chunkier. It's just more imposing and intimidating on the display when compared to other Marvel characters, as the Juggernaut should be. So whether you're creating a Marvel vs. Capcom display or just a Marvel comic display in general, this can absolutely fit in there, no problem at all. And yeah, it moves really well considering how big and chunky he is as well. The leg articulation isn't amazing, especially the knees, etc., but it still moves decent enough to get him into some running, charging poses. And I like how the effect piece can sort of attach onto the arm. Would have been good to have one that sort of got attached onto the head as well for those ramming poses, but again, that's a minor nitpick in the grand scheme of things. I think you're going to like this one, and you can let me know in the comments below. Like always, if you like Marvel Legends, you are absolutely in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit all of the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Tons of channel member only content, including live streams that you can get involved with, talking toys. Honestly, this hobby is more fun when you've got a good community to share it with. Don't be shy, come and get involved and talk some toys. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on X at Dan Who Reviews, and I will of course see you on the next one.